TerryB is an emerging playwright who is pursuing an MFA in playwriting at San Francisco State University. Her play, The M Documents, will be performed on the main stage for the Fall 2012 Fringe Festival. Terry is interested in writing plays based on found text. She has written plays about teen cluster suicide, Bay Bridge backup, offshore garment workers, classical texts, newspaper stories, and the German birthday song Hoch sollen sie leben? Okay. Recently, she completed her master's degree in drama. For her thesis project, she wrote 2 plays, Waiting for the Right and Very Soon or Never, which she directed at the Brown Bag Theater at San Francisco State University. Terry also directed a new play by Mario Mendoza, Brave Battling Autism, on the main stage for the university's Fall Fringe Festival in 2010. This year, she will be directing Sophia Martinez's work, So You Can Hear Me, at the Spring Fringe Festival, which is soon.
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
So welcome, Terry.
Thank you. I'm actually going to try something a little different, and that is a little vignette that I wrote, but it has character voices in it. And it's called The Great Outdoors. I met the great outdoors when my family ran out of money. My ever-resourceful mother decided to make lemonade out of lemons and dragged us, 6 children and 1 reluctant husband, to Lassen Volcanic Park. That we had no equipment did not deter her. Pioneers camped as they crossed the continent. They didn't have camp stoves or sleeping bags. She told my father one night as they sat in the living room watching Perry Mason and eating ice cream. My brothers and I were sitting on the upstairs landing, noses between the wooden slats. We had heard the telltale vroom of the thunder wagon backing out of the driveway. Dad was going down the block to Dryers. All we had had that night for dessert was jam and bread. And there were our parents eating ice cream. Like pilgrims on a trip to Mecca, we descended to ask for a glass of water. Why aren't you in bed? My father demanded, sliding his bowl of ice cream off to the side of his chair. My mother covered hers with the newspaper. I'm thirsty, Mark replied. Go in the kitchen and get a glass of water, Dad ordered. Mark bounded upstairs. They're eating Rocky Road. John and Lou crept downstairs. What are you doing down here? My father roared, almost toppling his bowl. Water, they croaked. Both of you, Dad threatened. I'm helping them, Lou said. Go get a glass of water in the kitchen, Mom said. She was wise to the game and had already given up, no longer hiding her bowl, but brazenly eating ice cream in front of her destitute children. Now it was my turn. I girded my loins to face the inevitable. Just as my toes touched the wooden stairs, Mom brought up camping. Dad almost choked. Marge, you know I hate camping. In the Army, I slept under trucks in the snow and mud, and I swore I'd never do it again. But that wasn't camping, Lou, my mother patiently explained as she gathered the bowls and spoons. That was more. I don't see the difference. We'll just have to think of something. The children will be so disappointed if we don't go on a vacation. Vacation used to mean staying at Grandma and Grandpa's cabin in Twain Harte. For as many years as I could remember, we always went to Twain Harte for a week of mountain air, swimming, and communing with nature. Now, Grandma and Grandpa had done something that made no sense. They sold the cabin and were building a new one in this place called Tahoe. And to make matters worse, my father's only sibling was building a cabin too. More like a house, Grandma said one Sunday as we sat on the deck awaiting dinner. He is building a second home, all of the modern things. Dishwasher, wall-to-wall carpet. I looked at my sister Vicky. Dishwasher. Vicky slowly nodded her head. When we had approached Mom about buying a dishwasher, she had replied, why? I already have 2 dishwashers. We failed to see the humor. Conversation lagged as the barbecue rotisserie whined and squeaked under the weight of the chickens. Dad and Mom looked at each other. Well, Mama, Dad said, we're going camping this year. Camping? Grandma was all attention. Yes, Marge and I think the children should learn to appreciate the great outdoors. We're going to Lassen Park, Mom chimed. Thus, our introduction to the great outdoors became a reality. It was all excitement as we tumbled into the Thunder Wagon that great morning. Mom and Dad had insisted on an early start. It's going to be a long ride to Lassen, Mom said. I was sitting in the back with Vicky, looking out the rear window toward the traffic. My brothers, the 3 Stooges, as they were known in the neighborhood, sat in the middle seat. Maggie, the baby, sat between Mom and Dad in the front seat. This was before car seats, seat belts, and airbags. The car was so crammed with humans that the camping equipment was cinched to the roof and covered with a canvas tarp. Vroom went the Thunder Wagon and lurched out of the driveway, whipping onto the street. We're going camping, we're going camping, the Stooges chanted. It was a long ride. Interstate 5 had not been built. We just twisted through small towns, farmland, as my father cursed and passed every slow driver on Highway 99. Looking out from the back seat, Vicky and I could see the irate faces as Dad hailed, tailgated, and passed each one. Dad always drove like a man possessed. We called him Whiplash because he had a habit of driving full throttle toward the car ahead of him and then slamming on the brakes the minute he got within an inch of hitting it. Mom would sit in the front and put out her arm to stop the child next to her from diving into the dashboard. My, she murmured. Finally, the scenery altered. As we began to gain elevation, excitement mounted, and we saw steam spouting out of the earth. No one had mentioned that Lassen was an inactive volcano. Like dinosaurs and cavemen, John asked. Well, I guess you could say so, Mom replied. You, Lou retched. That's sulfur, son, Dad informed him. Rotten eggs, Mark trilled. Vicky nudged me. Are we going to smell that all the time? The thought appalled me. Surely our parents wouldn't take us somewhere that smelled of perpetual farts. The campground was hot and brown. Dust rose under our feet. The boys started throwing dirt at each other. Well, girls, where are we going to put your tent? Tent? We were going to sleep in a tent? It was an old army tent, made of heavy canvas and thick wood, and must have weighed 50 pounds. Dad and Mom struggled to erect the thing. The plan had been for my parents to sleep in the tent, the girls to sleep in the back of the car, and my brothers on the ground. One look at all that dirt and the crazy way my brothers were leaping off rocks convinced my mother a change was required. Their tent? Dad stopped in mid-setup. Yes, Lou, but I thought. Dad followed Mom's gaze and saw his sons peeing on the fire pit. Boys! Looking back at Mom, he took a breath. We need your help setting up the girls' tent. That's how my parents wound up sleeping on the ground, and they caged my brothers in the Thunder Wagon for the night. I thought this was going to be different from war, my father muttered after dinner. We had just finished a meal of hot dogs and beans. Mom was trying to get some s'mores organized. Boys, go find sticks. Marge, are you sure? Dad was worried. He had a right to be. The 3 Stooges with blazing marshmallows running around the campfire, attacking each other with blackened goo. Oh, Lou, let the children have some fun. Girls, time to do the dishes. Some things never change. All night, Vicky and I looked at the pots and pans. We didn't have a camp stove. Pioneers cooked over the fire. We can too, Mom explained as she soaked the outside of the pots in the frying pan. The cast iron frying pan was brown and crispy, and the aluminum pot was cinders. Oh dear, I hope there's a camp store nearby. The next morning, things looked different, especially my brother's. There were no showers. To get clean, we went to the lake for a swim. Manzanita Lake had been built as a swimming lake. It came up to our knees and was filled with green slime. Small fish darted about our feet. Even the Stooges didn't like it. A guarantee of grossness. That night, it was cold. For the first time, I noticed my blankets didn't keep me warm. In the morning, Mom and I folded them into tubes. That should do the trick, Mom assured me. It didn't. I continued to shiver through the nights, praying the sun would arrive early. The week lunged forward. Ranger walks, the geysers, towering pines, dishes, freezing nights, wildlife. Goddamn deer stepped on me last night, dead last. Oh no, was Mom's response, accompanied by our giggles. I told you I don't like camping. 1 full week. Plus the long ride home. Only this time the boys took the back seat. It smelled. We cheered as we approached the house and turned down the driveway. Later, standing in a sea of dirty laundry and blackened pots, my mom sighed. Oh, wasn't that a lovely vacation? Thank you.